Hey guys, so yesterday we worked on additive inverse, meaning two opposites that come to zero. Like if I have -5 and I add 5, I'm going to end up with 0. Today we're going to talk about adding negative and positive integers. And there are a couple of major points that I want to talk about. The first one is that negative numbers are to the left of 0. So here's 0 right here. All negative numbers are to the left of it. Okay? And the further away I get away from 0, the smaller my numbers become. Likewise, positive numbers are to the right of 0. And you want to go ahead and fill this one in because this is blank on your paper. Positive numbers are to the right of 0. And the further I get away from 0 to the right, the larger my numbers get. Adding a negative is the same as subtracting. And I want to show you what this means. Every time that I add, let's say I had 2 plus 3. Every time I add, I'm always going to the right. Obviously, I have 2. If I add 3, that's going to end up with 5, right? But if I add a negative, that's actually the same thing as subtracting. So let me show you an example. Let's say I had 5, and I wanted to add -3. The negative tells me to go to the left, because the left side of the number line is where all my negatives are. So I'm going to start at 5, and I'm going to go to the left 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. That's going to end up with, that's going to give me 2. So 5 plus -3 is the same as 2. So adding this negative is the same as subtracting. Let's move on. All right, let's talk about the rules when you are adding integers. When your signs are the same, okay, meaning I have 2 negatives or 2 positives, I'm going to add the numbers and keep the sign. So let me show you an example. Let's say I had -5 plus -5. My signs are the same here. I have 2 negatives. -5 plus -5 is going to give me -10. Super easy. Likewise, if I had 5 plus 5, my signs are also the same here because both of these numbers are positive. And 5 plus 5 is going to give me 10. When my signs are different, meaning if I have a positive and a negative, I'm going to subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the larger number. And I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like on a number line. All right, let's look down at your examples. I have -5, and I'm adding -4. You can always think about negative numbers as though it's money. So let's say I borrow $5 from Ikenia. I then borrow 4 more. I now owe her $9. And money I owe is always negative. Okay? But think back to your rules. I have the same signs here. So all I did was add the numbers and keep the sign. So let's look at what this looks like on a number line. I'm starting at -5. And I'm adding -4, which means I'm going to the left. So I'm going to scoop 4 times to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to end up at -9. Let's look at another one. Let's say I had -6 plus -3. And again, my signs are the same. I have a negative and a negative, so I'm going to add the numbers, keep the sign. -6 plus -3, also -9. Again, think of it like money. You owe somebody $6, you borrow 6 more, or you borrow 3 more, you now owe them 9. And again, think about your number line. Adding a negative is the same as subtracting, so I know I'm going to the left. I'm starting at -6, and I'm going to the left 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, boom. I'm now at -9. Let's look at another one. Okay, -7 plus 12. All right, here I have 2 numbers that have different signs. -7 is a negative because there's a negative sign in front of it. 12 is a positive. There's even a positive sign in front of it. If your signs are different, you are going to subtract them normally and keep the sign of the larger number. So I'm going to take 12 and I'm going to subtract 7. 12 minus 7 is 5. Now, I'm going to go back and look. Did I have more negatives or more positives? And obviously I had more positives here, which means that 12 is the larger number. So my answer is going to be positive. So -7 plus 12 is +5. Let's look at what this looks like on a number line. I'm starting at negative 7. I'm adding 12, which means I'm going to the right of my number line. So let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 5 is 12 units to the right of negative 7. Let's look at another one. All right, 9 plus negative 15. Again, I see that I have different signs. 9 has no sign in front of it, so I automatically assume it's a positive. 15 is clearly negative because of the negative sign in front. You must take the sign in front. So since my signs are different, I'm going to go back to my rules. My rules are, if the sign is different, to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So I'm going to take 15, I'm going to subtract 9. 15 minus 9 is 6. And I'm going to keep the sign of the larger number, which is 15, so this is a negative 6. So 9 plus negative 15 is negative 6. Again, let's look at this on a number line. I'm starting at 9. I'm adding negative 15, which means I'm going to the left, 15 spaces. So I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and boom, I'm ending up at negative 6. Let's do one more and then you will practice. All right, 1 plus negative 8. Again, I see that my signs are different. 1 is positive, 8 is negative. So I'm going to subtract these numbers and keep the sign of the larger number. 8 minus 1 is 7. And I'm going to keep the sign of the larger number here, which is 8, so this is a negative 7. Okay? Think about this in terms of money. You have $1 on your in your bank account. You charge $8 to your credit card. You now owe the bank $7, and money you always owe is negative. So let's look at this on a number line. I'm starting at 1. I'm adding 8, negative 8, which means I'm going to the left, 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to end up at negative 7. If you can keep your signs straight, you got this skill. Let's go ahead and practice, y'all.